national viewpoints. In 1943, Harborview Hospital hired its first black by Rick DuPree, Tina Marie, and me, Tony B. In 1961, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made his first and only Seattle appearance. Did I mention every Wednesday in February, every Wednesday night, in celebration of Black History, live musical performances from the historic Columbia City Theater. I'll say it again. Every Wednesday, live musical performances from the historic Columbia City Theater in celebration of Black History Month. People you know, and some you may not. It's a celebration of Black History Month on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Sergio LaCour's Love Lines is on Rainier Avenue Radio World. Thursday nights at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. Music and dedications for the grown and sexy.
This is the news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
The Seattle Seahawks search for a new offensive coordinator appears to be over. Per Como News, the Seahawks plan to hire Los Angeles Rams passing game coordinator Shane Waldron for his vacant offensive coordinator job. Waldron spent the last 4 years with the Rams organization, including 3 years as his passing game coordinator. He has not called plays during any of his 7th season as an NFL assistant coach. Last season, the Rams finished as the NFL's 23rd best offense, 23.3 points per game. Waldron will reportedly replace Brian Schottenheimer, who was let go January 12th due to philosophical differences with the team. The Seahawks interviewed former Los Angeles head coach Anthony Lynn, Las Vegas Raiders running back coach Kirby Wilson, and requested an interview with Buffalo Bills quarterback coach Ken Dorsey in their search for a new offensive coordinator.
And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update.
Yeah, welcome back. It's your boy Dupe for another edition of Monday Night Sports. I'm here with Big Edwin Bailey. He'll be joining us, and there he is, the big man. What's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm here taking notes.
How you taking notes? Yeah. Well, we got a lot to cover, and we don't have a lot of time to do it. But let me set the stage for our listeners. Again, if you just joined us, I'm Dupe. He's Edwin Bailey. And if you recall, last week we gave our Super Bowl predictions. We're going to get to those. But also we want to focus on a couple of things. The Seahawks, you heard in the news there, have made a couple of big hires. They're bringing on Shane Waldron from the Rams and also Andy Dickerson as their run game coordinator. So Seahawks, Edwin, we talked about this, making some moves, looking to get that offense going even more and more consistently. And I think it's exciting because Shane Waldron has been the passing game coordinator for the Rams the last 3 years. But the other thing is Dickerson, man, has been with the Rams since 2012 and their assistant offensive line coach. So I think, to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, this shows that Pete Carroll and the Seahawks are looking to make some improvements on that offensive side of the ball. Well,
one thing we can say now, they have definitely seen enough of the Seahawks that they know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to get a guy out of the AFC East.
Yeah,
and bringing them in here. They're bringing guys that's breaking down their film as much as the Seahawks is breaking down their film.
Yeah.
So
how important is that?
What's going on?
Yeah. Okay. And I think the other thing is that you bring in guys that you look at. The Rams have had a potent offense. And I think so guys that maybe can come in with a fresh pair of eyes. And it's going to be interesting. So I don't want to we'll talk more about this, but we have a very, very special guest tonight. And I want to say a big thanks to Mo Kelly. On short notice, I made a call to Tyler Lockett, and Tyler took some time out of his schedule. So I want to welcome Tyler onto the show. And there he is, Mr. Tyler Lockett, record set and receiver. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. How all y'all doing?
We're doing good.
My hat off to you.
Oh, no, you don't have to do that.
Oh, man, yes, I do.
Yeah.
The part that you play a big part, bro, and you do a hell of a job.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I'm just happy to be a part of the team.
Yeah. Hey, man, let me tell you, we are excited to have you here on the show. We're showing some highlights of you throughout the season in that last game when you set the record. But Tyler, talk real quickly about what it meant for you. I mean, obviously, it's a team game, but you were a big part of that offense. And to set a record for most receptions in a season says a lot about the offense, but says a lot about you, too. What did that feel like as you experienced that?
Man, honestly, like it felt great. You know, when I talked to the media about it after the game, you really just sit back, and I was just hoping I could get to 95 catches to be able to beat the record. I didn't even think about getting 100 catches. And so I kind of told him about, the verse in the Bible that talked about God can do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. And for me, that was something
Amen.
I'd never even thought about when it came to breaking a record. The fact that I got 100 catches, I mean, it said a lot because nobody got past 95, I think, with the Seahawks. But the fact that I got to 100, that's something that nobody can ever take away. And so for
Speak
me,
volumes.
so for me, it was just something that I could really just look back on and say, man, when you look at how my career has gone from when I first got there to when I broke my leg to when I started getting opportunities to be able to play a lot more, I've always been taking advantage of those opportunities. And so I just wanted to continually do that. But sometimes you got to go through a certain phase in life before you can hit a gold mine. And sometimes even that gold mine is something that's just going to lead you to more success and more gold. And so I just truly appreciated it, man. I didn't even think I was going to play because of COVID. And the fact that I went out there and played and just kind of saw how the season went as a whole, I was really happy that I made the decision to play.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just joined us, we're talking to a record-setting, I'm going to keep saying that, my brother, record-setting receiver for the Seahawks, Tyler Lockett here with me and Edwin here for a few minutes on Monday Night Sports. And Tyler, it's been great doing this show every Monday night. We've kind of really focused on the Seahawks and Edwin with his expertise as a former player. But can you talk a little bit about just this season? And you guys started out on such a high, leveled off, then started, getting back up there. And then, had an incredible season, obviously, disappointing finish. But can you just talk about that arc of the season and what that was like for you guys?
Yeah, it was hard going into the season with COVID going on. A lot of people had a lot of different mindsets about how to go about it. And we had to get tested every single day, even on our off days. I was driving 30 minutes every single day just to go get tested. And so it was a weird type of season. Obviously, everybody's going through stuff, family members getting it, friends getting it. You just don't know what's happening or even if people are passing away from it. But the fact that we all came together and we played in the season, man, it speaks volumes. The NFL was able to uphold their part of everything to where we were able to make it through the whole season. As far as when we entered the season, and I think we started off and had a great season. I think we stepped on a lot of teams' toes, especially very early. They didn't know what type of offense we were going to bring. They didn't know how dynamic we were going to be. And we were just clicking on all phases. I think one of the things, that's even happened since I've been here is we were always used to seeing certain coverages. And once you start turning into a throwing team, you start experiencing different things, even within coverages. And that's what a lot of fans and people don't realize is that when we did a lot of things early on in my career, it was easy to understand coverages. But now when you start going into games, you have to be able to adjust because teams start doing all this different stuff that they never shown on film or that they rarely do at all. And you got to learn how to adjust. And so I think we actually did a great job adjusting. We took what teams gave us. We tried to figure out how to make things work. And we got thrown at a lot of coverages that you might see people throw at teams that throw the ball a lot. And for us, we went from running the ball a lot to throwing the ball a lot. And so when you face different things that you're not normally used to, you got to be able to figure out how to adjust. And so a lot of people might not have liked what happened the second half of the season. But for us, it might have not looked like how we wanted it to look like the first half of the season, but we had to adjust with a lot of the different fronts, a lot of the different coverages that people were throwing at us. And we were doing that together and we were learning together at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt. Our guest is Tyler Lockett here on Monday Night Sports, next oldest golden, checking in, saying great season. Big man, you got some questions for
hey,
young brother?
I just want to pay homage to him. I played with a pretty good receiver in Seattle, and Tyler, I see you along the same lines. Yeah. When I'm sitting here watching the games and I know we need a play and I need to know that ball need to get in the right man's hands, you always seem to step up. You've been stepping up since I've been watching you, man. Just continue to play ball, man. Continue to play ball. You're a hell of a leader and you make plays. And I know for a fact that's very comforting to an offensive lineman in that huddle.
Yeah.
And I know your guys are happy to have you out there, man.
Yeah, I'm happy. Like I said, man, I'm happy to be a part of it. And I appreciate everything that you said. I always just try to take advantage of the opportunities. You never really know when your name is going to get called. And once that ball is thrown your way, that's all that people can judge you off of is what does he do? Does he catch the ball? Does he drop the ball? And so for me, I just want to always try to make myself consistent, be dependable, and make the plays when my name is called.
All right, Tyler, where you from?
Oklahoma.
Okay. I know some Georgia Lockets. I thought you might have been one of the Georgia.
Now I got a lot of. Well, I mean, who knows? I got a lot of family Lockets that grew up in North Carolina.
Okay, well, hey, man, Tyler, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being the guy that you are.
I got you, man. I appreciate that.
That's it, Tyler. You got to know. So Edwin and I say I'm Seattle born. I'm from the north. I went to Florida A&M for a minute. Edwin's from Savannah, Georgia. Went to South Carolina State. So we got the HBCU thing going, and the north and the south.
Go ahead, then.
Yeah. So we have a good time, man. Hey, you were talking about just consistency and what have you, man. Looking at your career, and I also want to say congratulations, not only setting the record for most receptions in the season, but you only the sixth player in franchise history to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Last year 82 catches for over 1,000 yards, and then this year the 100 catches for over 100 yards. You tied your most touchdowns in the season with 10. And so, man, I mean, you talk about being there when you're called on, and you have definitely been that. And I know for us as fans, I'm sure our listeners, have certainly enjoyed, you. And what is it like? Because like you, I play ball, but I'm a small guy, and I think people always underestimate us. What is your mindset going in, day in and day out, Sunday and Sunday after Sunday, especially knowing that you're a target to a certain degree, especially when you're going over the middle?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like I really don't even think about stuff like that. I really just take it one game at a time and figure out where they got me playing within the system when it comes to a certain week. And after that, I try to figure out how to master that role, how to be able to play to the best of my ability, how to help out the team in that role. Sometimes it was me going deep, and sometimes it was me just, being able to make sure I secure the third down and catching the short passes. But I wanted to make sure that my game was overall complete. So when I first came in the league, obviously, like I was a deep threat. I was on special teams. And then as I started to grow in my career, I started learning how to be consistent in those short passes. Then I started learning how to put both of them together. And this year I just was able to catch a lot of the short passes, which is fine with me because I'm able to evolve. And so for me, that's literally what it's become, is learning how to evolve, learning how to run the short routes, learning how to get open versus man, learning how to understand the coverages and sit in zones, learning how to get open on the scramble, still learning how to take people over the top. So when you add all those together, that's how I see my game overall and how I'm evolving as a player. So, man, I'm looking forward to next season. I'm just looking forward to everything that's in front of us. Obviously, we can't go back. We can't go back and change a lot of the stuff that we did, but we can learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, Tyler, you sound like a South Carolina State guy, man.
he gonna pull you in, man. Our guest is a record-setting Seahawks receiver, Tyler Lockett, here for just a couple of more minutes. Tyler, a couple quick. Edwin and I all season long talked about, man, just you and DK and that tandem that you guys, and then I love your guys' tight end core as well. But can you talk about what it's like playing with that big fella on the other side and sometimes on the same side? But I mean, Edwin and I would say, man, DK just a beast. I mean, he just gets it done, and you guys complement each other so well.
Yeah, well, the best part about it is it's one thing to watch it in the game, but as you see him progress throughout practice, it's like I got the chance to see him when he first got here, and now being able to see how he brings it day in and day out to practice, and also how he transitions it to the game. It's a beautiful thing to watch because you're seeing somebody grow. You're seeing somebody get better each and every single day. Like a lot of fans, they could only see it every week, every Sunday, or if we played on Monday or Thursday. But like we got to see the progress every single day. And I think that's the beautiful part about how we get to play as football players, because some people never even get to see human beings' growth in general on an everyday basis. We only get to see it from afar. But when you're right there in the mix of it and you know where the person's come from and you know where they were at when you first met them in life, or you know where say like DK came when he first got in the league. When you see how amazing of a season he had, it doesn't shock you when you see the growth day in and day out, every single day at practice. And so it's amazing being able to play beside him. It's one of those things where, you know, when you go in, you don't never have to worry about doing too much or doing too little. You just got to be you and play your part, because you know that if teams tried to take me away, then DK made plays all the time. If teams tried to take him away, then I was able to make plays all the time. And when you have people who are able to help make plays, it takes a lot of the pressure and the load off of you. And then we had a lot of guys, like you said, in the tight end room. We had other receivers that was able to play, and everybody was making plays when their name was called. And so it makes teams have to figure out, well, we can't just stop this player, because if we stop this player, this other player going to ball. And if we stop both of them, then the other players are going to ball out. And so it makes us look like a different team because we utilize all of our weapons.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, man. Hey, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, you know, my favorite Seahawks has been Dave Craig, Steve Largent, Jacob Green, Walter Jones. Now this man done moved to the head of my list, man. Tyler
Yes, sir.
my favorite Seahawks now, man.
Appreciate that. We're gonna have to get you a jersey now.
Hey, I like how you sound. You know, I definitely love the way you play.
Yeah,
you know?
No doubt.
And to me, you look the same size as the other big guy out there.
Yeah.
You know, with the plays that you make and when and where you come up. Hey, man, just keep going, bro. I got to put your jersey up on my wall now.
I got you, man. I'm glad I'm making it into year 7 too. Average is 3.5. I didn't beat that twice and still being able to play.
Hey,
so you talk about a blessing, and I know Edwin, 11 seasons. I mean, what 100? How many games was it? I mean that
100. I think it's 139. But I don't think they added my playoff starts.
Right. But I mean, you guys. I mean, Ty, you made reference to it, man. Just thanking God, and I mean that is so important. People don't realize, that the fact that walking in that faith and knowing that who's guiding you. So. Keep on doing what you're doing, brother. Before we let you go, I got 2 questions I got to ask you. Number one, these hires, you heard it. We talked about right at the beginning of the show, but I don't know how you guys feel, but I think for fans looking in, there's certainly some excitement, optimism you bring in. And then the focus, again, new offensive coordinator, but also, someone that's focusing on the run game as well. And 2 guys that had a lot of success in LA with the Rams. How do you guys as players look at that, and how does that impact, you guys' day to day?
Yeah, well, I think obviously a lot of us are on the outside looking in, so we're just like the fans trying to figure out what's going to happen, what's going on, all that type of stuff. But once we end up making decisions, now we have a chance to be able to get that relationship and start talking to the coaches and start understanding how do you foresee everything that's going on in the future? How do you plan on using me? All those different types of things. Mm-hmm. And I think that, whenever you always have somebody new, there's a lot of things you look forward to, and you're kind of intrigued and trying to see okay, what's going to be different? What's going to be the same? How are we going to approach other types of things? And that's kind of what happens when you have new faces in the building. But, for me, I think it's always being able to try to get that relationship with a person outside of football, just kind of see about their family, all that different type of stuff, because believe it or not, people don't realize that helps transitions into the field. And that's how it is even as us as players. When you have those relationships away from the building, it makes everything easier on the field. For some reason, you get more chemistry. You feel like you know the person, how they want you to be and how to approach the game. And so we're looking forward to it. Obviously, there's a lot on our plate because we got to learn the new plays. We got to understand if there's different languages and lingos and how to go about stuff. But as being a professional, these are the things that you have to learn. These are the things that you have to know, and you got to get accustomed to it and adjust to it. So it's hard to do that. When we are dealing with COVID, we might not go back up there in April to do off-season workouts and stuff. So you got to almost learn maybe a new playbook, or maybe we have some of the same similar stuff with same wordings. You don't know, but you got to learn it during this OTA season of maybe it being virtual again. Yeah. And you don't have that chance to see the offensive coordinator or see our offensive run game coordinator until we actually get there in July, and then you might have a month and a half again if we even have preseason games.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Our guest is Tyler Lockett here. And Tyler, before we let you go, big game coming up, obviously, on Sunday. Edwin and I, we made our predictions. We both had Green Bay and KC, so obviously we were both wrong. But we Edwin, I took this down. So Edwin is picking KC to win the Super Bowl, 31-14. I got the Chiefs at 31-24. What's your prediction for Sunday?
Man, it's tough. You know, my dad played with the Chiefs, and it's like, so I know the Chiefs really well. Like,
yeah.
So you never want to go against the Chiefs. You know, I grew up, my dad played with the Chiefs. But, you know, at the same time, it's hard to bet against Tom Brady. And everybody betted against him. Like, to me, it's like he's the LeBron of the league. Mm-hmm. You know, you sit here and you bet against LeBron all the time. He literally goes to the playoffs or the championship every time. And if he doesn't, well, he must have got hurt or something. That's right. So I think it's the same. Everybody counted Brady out when he went to Tampa, figured out a way to be able to make it to the Super Bowl. The one thing that I will say that's playing in Tampa's favor is they have a veteran who's already been there. The Chiefs have experience. And so sometimes when you have a player like Brady in there, you know, it creates this type of confidence to where it's like, I'm not going to let Tom Brady down.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go out here and ball because I know if I do my part, he going to get it done. And I'm not going to be the reason why we don't get it done. So when you kind of look at what's going to happen, it's going to be interesting. But I think the way that the Chiefs played Tampa in the regular season, I think it plays out in Tampa's favor. Because when you look at Tampa and they lost to the Saints twice, what happened? When you look at Tampa and they played Green Bay, Tampa had won that game, but then look what happened. They still were able to win at a decent margin. So when you're going into the Super Bowl, the fact that the team has already beat you at least puts you in a place to where you're like, all right, I know we got to come play. But if you press, then it's going to look like it's going to end up being the Chiefs. But I think that if Tom Brady can do his part and keep everybody composed and not try to do too much, then I feel like Tampa will end up being able to win.
All right, but that's there you have it from Tyler Lockett.
Hey, Rick.
I'm not saying Tampa gonna win. I'm the game just to watch it for fun, but it's one of the things like Tampa's defense is gonna have to stop the pass. If they can't stop the pass, it's gonna be a long day. But if the Bucks control the clock, then the Bucks have a really good chance. But you know, they also got a great D line. So I'm just gonna be watching it, and whichever way it go, I'm fine.
You're not committing. You're not committing.
Hey, Tyler, how many years you been in the league?
6.
You sound like you've been in the league 16, 17 years. Hey, great point though. You know, I worked for New England when we drafted Brady. You know, and you know, playing against Kansas City for 11 years. You know, and I love what their offense looked like. You know, if they get their rhythm and going, you know, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, Brady is being counted out from the time we drafted him in the 7th to 8th round.
Yeah.
And all he's done is come up, man. So
you don't want to count him out, but I also like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes has done it in key times, so it's going to be a great game. It's going to
be one in the secondary on both teams. Whichever team in the secondary holds up, that's going to be who helps win this game.
I think you're right.
There you go, Tyler Lockett making his prediction, or at least giving you some things to think about as you look at Sunday's game. Tyler, man, we appreciate you taking time out of your evening. Again, congratulations on a great season personally and as a team. And man, know that anytime you got a few minutes, you are welcome to join us. And we just appreciate you taking the time out and appreciate what you do, not only for the Seahawks, but in the community as well, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Tyler, good seeing you. Hey, man, I need an autographed picture, man.
I got you.
we'll talk to Mo. We'll get Mo on it.
Hey, Mo, straight out of Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Yeah. All right, that's Tyler Lockett, everybody, right here on Monday Night Sports Again. Tyler, appreciate it, man. You take care.
No problem. See y'all later.
All right, thanks, man. All right. So I tell you what, Edwin, man, a lot of wisdom coming out of that young man.
Impressive young man, Rick.
Yeah.
Rick,
Yeah.
that, you know, and you know, you can see it in his game, but just sitting out listening to him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive young man. Very impressive.
Yeah. You know what impressed me most? He talked about how his game has evolved. He said, he came in obviously with special teams, the deep threat with the speed. You know, then he had to learn how to be kind of that short target and catch the short pass and get the first down and what have you. And now, you know, kind of blending the two, and you can see his game evolving and maturing. And you know, all the aspects and elements of a receiver. I mean, he gets open and he makes the tough catch, and like you said, you know, makes the catch on third down. I'm excited to see, you know, with him, DK having another year, and yeah, I mean, you look at, you know, Freddie Swain and you know, the young receivers, man, stepped up. I mean, all the young receivers from you know, I mean, they just man, they've got a nice core. Yeah, they've got a nice core here, and guys.
One thing about it is, Rick, they got a good, solid offensive line, and they got a championship quarterback. Yeah.
And so the key is going to be, and it'll be really, really interesting to see, as we talked about the Seahawks. As you know, it's been on the news. They hired Shane Waldron coming in as the offensive coordinator, and then Andy Dickerson, and focus on that run game. And I think the combination of those two, to me, you know, Edwin, that sends a message that Pete Carroll and his staff saying, look, we need to have a dedicated focus on the passing game, the run game, because, you know, Waldron, that's what he did, you know, with the Rams. He was their passing game guy. He's their passing game. And so to bring these two guys in, one that has focused on the passing game, one that's focused on the run game, and I mean, you're almost in a sense bringing in, you know, an offensive coordinator, or two offensive coordinators, because they're working together and really trying to pull this together. And Edwin, I would ask you, we got a couple minutes left here. You and I talked about some of the keys for the Seahawks in this offseason are going to be looking to shore up that offensive line, make that offensive line even more strong, to strengthen them.
Hey, work on that depth, and if they can go and find that running back, hard nosed, got to go and get it. Can pick up that blitz, pick up that hard yard. It's gonna be a hell of a team to beat, man.
Got something to go. Well, you hear Marvin Gaye in the background. That's our cue. So I want to remind everyone, Black History Month, and man, we have a bunch of stuff going on every day. But Wednesdays, live music right in the community here in Columbia City. So make sure to tune in. And again, want to say thanks to Tyler Lockett for taking time out of his schedule, to Mo Kelly, who has been a big supporter for us and someone we can lean on and call Tyler for us. And again, Edwin, as we bow out, remind people, you said KC 31-14. I'm picking KC 31-24. We shall talk about it next Monday, and we'll see what happens.
Rick, I don't know. I was thinking about watching it in here, but I might have to end up going to the Esquire somewhere.
You got to be safe. We're out of time. Just be safe, my brother. Until next week, for Edwin, for Daniel B. Peace and God bless.
Rainier Avenue Radio